I'm Sinbad the sailor, so hardy and hale. I live on an island on the back of a whale. It's a whale of an island, that's not a bad joke. Its lord and its master is this handsome bloke. Oh, the most remarkable, extraordinary fellow. Sinbad the sailor. I scare all creation on land or on sea, but talk about women.
Comparison is the thief of joy. What ease of mind you gain from not looking at what your neighbor has said or done or thought, but only at your own actions, to make them just, reverential, imbued with good. So, do not look around at the depraved morals of others, but run straight along the line without deviating from it. There's this song by Drake that I love. It's called Can't Have Everything. And I think the title speaks for itself, really. There's also another song of his with The Weeknd called True Love. I also love the song. And in that song, he has this one bar where he says, "Seeing my family have it all took the place of desire for diplomas on the wall." And that line opened up something interesting to me. The realization that even if I had everything that I wanted, there would always be something else to want, showed me that the only way to happiness is not through the pursuit of desire, but through fulfillment in present circumstances, regardless of circumstances. Because comparison is not static. Your reference point always shifts with you. This phenomenon is well explored in literature and is one of the core truths of decision theory. It appears in ideas such as Weber's law. If you are used to traveling on holiday, traveling becomes normal, nothing special. So you look for even more exotic places or unique experiences each time, because your reference point has moved. The same is true for status, wealth, grades, and careers. The mind seeks increasingly higher levels of stimulation to satisfy the itch. Jumping from a salary of 50k to 100k feels huge, but 250k to 300k may be perceived as merely nice. It also shows up in the Easterlin paradox, which shows that happiness is not a function of GDP or wealth, and that comparison plays a decisive role. And of course, much of this is formalized in the prospect theory of Kahneman and Tversky. So, while you can and should take pride in your accomplishments, our measures have to be more granular, things that can change on a small enough timeline to be within our control. Comparing yourself to others is foolish, because you can never give them the same fair assessment. You'll never know how much work they put in, how much luck they had. Furthermore, the wheel of fortune keeps on spinning. Someone who you view as smarter, better, or richer than you can be worse off in a very short amount of time, and the opposite also applies. Overall, things that are outside your control are thus not great ways to measure yourself by.
One of the things that everybody should realize, and that is probably the single most important factor, is that any startup company that turns into a substantial company over the years never lose track of the fact that there was a lot of luck involved in that. So, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, there are a lot of people who are very smart, very hardworking. Very few ever have, the planetary alignment that leads to a tiny little company growing into something substantial.
The most vital natural resource of a country at war. Every tick of the clock is time won or lost. Every 60-minute sweep, every 12-hour tour of those relentless hands is turning out carload lots of time for us to use ourselves or to give away to the enemy.
chastise yourself or be glad in your accomplishments of the day or the week. These are, in my opinion, small enough time blocks such that you can focus on changing behavior within them, but not big enough such that consistency becomes an issue. I think that doing a retrospective each quarter is also useful. It doesn't have to be unproductive or pensive. It can be actionable in the form of a CV update. Try and look at everything that you have done in that light, and you will notice that you probably did more than you realized during that time.
They call me the professor, and this is my laboratory. But do you think I'm happy? No! I'm frustrated. You ask why? Felix the cat and his bag of tricks. It's magic. I'll make a canoe. Magic and more magic. I try to get that bag like this.
Stop shadowboxing. You have to realize that you will never have enough information about a person as to make an unbiased rating of them. One that takes into account who they truly are, not who they present themselves to be. You're fighting shadows on a wall, shadow puppets.
But here's the real prize is his bag of tricks. Now to solve the mystery. My, what a temper!
I have found myself fighting shadow puppets in the past. There have been times when I felt inferior because of what someone else has achieved, or what I thought that they had achieved. But when I learned more about the situation, I realized that the image I had created in my mind was far larger and more impressive, more intimidating than the truth. I still give full credit to their accomplishments, but it reminded me how easily we project onto shadows instead of seeing people as they actually are.
Maybe the secret is inside the bag. I'll get my super hi-fi sneak a look. Double exposed X-ray. Why, there's nothing inside.
Not only is it not impossible to have enough information as to judge someone's success when information isn't obscured, but it is beneficial for one to actively curate their image. Everyone curates. Now watch me catch this shot. Nice. So I unironically made like the second shot, then missed the next 30 shots. And I think that just goes to prove my point. So just because I made the second shot, does that mean that I can play in the NBA? Of course not, because it doesn't tell the whole picture. NBA players aren't freaks of nature because of how much they score. They're so impressive because of how much they score relative to how much they miss. No one advertises their failures. They only advertise their successes. Curated images can paint a different picture of a person. Take Elon Musk. Many of us thought that he was a genius, a kind of modern-day Renaissance man. I know I did. Back in 2020, I deeply admired him.
Definitely the way to go, because problem with the biofuel stuff is it ends up displacing crops, and people forget, like other countries, food's expensive. I mean, it's too expensive, they starve.
Rocket Man, car in space, Mars by 2020, Mr. Environment, Mr. Self-Driving by 2020. Now, well, the Emperor has no clothes.
Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
Reality is often disappointing, and it's very hard to know what is real and what is fake. So, don't compare yourself to others. To drive this point home, Let us recall the story of someone who some may call a modern-day Joseph, Nelson Mandela. Mandela spent 27 years in prison under apartheid before becoming the first democratically elected president of South Africa in 1994. Put yourself in the shoes of one of his more self-satisfied peers during that time. You might think, at least I'm not Mandela. And then, almost overnight, the man you dismissed becomes the moral and political center of a nation. This is a simplified illustration, but it shows how difficult it can be to judge someone from the outside. How often do we discount the decades of unseen preparation, the early activism? We overlook the fact that while in prison, he studied Islam and Afrikaans in pursuit of a future rainbow nation. We forget the inner suffering and profound personal loss he endured for his cause and beliefs. And we underestimate the moral strength it took not to persecute his political opponents or the whites and Afrikaners after his release, choosing reconciliation over revenge.
No one is born hating another person for the color of their skin, religion, or background. Hatred and intolerance have to be learned. Even in the grimmest times, I have seen glimmers of humanity which reassured me that man's goodness is a flame that can never be extinguished.
While using yourself as a yardstick is already great, let us ask ourselves what qualities one should strive for. For this, let us look at ancient wisdom that has proven itself time and time again. We should strive for things such as love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, contentment, reason, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. Generations before us have wrestled with the same questions, and these virtues remain because they reveal something true about the human condition.
Wherever she may be, she will search this wide world over, but she'll never find another sweet man like me. Now when I die, bear me in my straight leg breeches, put on a box back coat and a Stetson hat. Put a $20 gold piece on my watch chain so you can let all the boys know I died standing pat. Then give me 6 rap shooting pallbearers. Let a chorus girl sing me a song. Put a red hot jazz band in the top man so we can raise hallelujah as we go along. Folks, now that you have heard my story,